There are so many incredible plant allies that we can work with to support our creative practice, to enhance our sense of focus, flow, and our connection to our creativity. And so today I'm going to narrow it down into the plants that have supported me so much on my creative journey. Hello friends and welcome. I'm Sandler. I'm an herbalist and a creative and a wild woman. So I'm super excited about today's video because these are two topics, herbalism and creativity, that just totally light me up. And welcome to day 18. Oh my gosh, one day away from finishing this 19-day journey of showing up to our creativity, our creative practice for 19 days. We are lighting elder cedar because it felt very appropriate. Yes, it has already been lit yesterday because I actually filmed a full video for day 17, but then ended up just turning it into a short. So please enjoy this half-burnt candle. But I felt like we needed to light a tree to really honor this day of talking about plants. So these are personally the plants that have supported me so much and that I have deep relationship with. So that is the very first foundational thing for you to understand when you're looking to connect to plants to support you in anything. It's that you need to develop a reciprocal relationship with them, and that actually the plant that will support you the most is the one usually that you have the deepest relationship with and really the clearest intention. So you can watch my other videos that I have on here about plant communication, about talking to trees, if you want a good place to start. But just bear in mind that experiment with these different plants, connect to them, build a relationship based on reciprocity. But perhaps there's plants that aren't on this list that are actually really perfect for you. So the first plant that can really help us with a sense of focus, clarity, flow is a rosemary. And I just love her. She's one of the plants I have tattooed on my body because I'm obsessed. She also obviously has such an ancient grandmother spirit. She just really wants to help us clear out the mind and really focus in on whatever creative project work we're wanting to bring through. So personally, I really like to have a rosemary tincture that I keep on my creative desk over there, and when I'm trying to get into flow, do some deep work and really focus, I take some of the tincture. You could also have some rosemary tea, or often I like to burn her as a cleansing protective energy, to start or end your creative practice. You can make it kind of more ceremonial. And rosemary is associated with fire. Which obviously we're doing this 19-day journey connecting to Bridget, the creative flame. Fire is so deeply intertwined with our creativity. And so I feel like if you're wanting to start on this path of really cultivating a connection to your creative flame, rosemary can be a really great ally to help you ignite that fire in you and get things moving. There's this energy with rosemary where she wants things to move and be clear and be refined. And yeah, she is just such a beautiful plant ally for artists. Okay, second one, if you know me, this is not a surprise. And it is wild rose, or rose in general, or just broadly heart medicines. So that could be cacao, that could be hawthorn, whatever you feel called to. But I do feel wild rose in particular, I love to connect to really help get my heart open so that I can actually connect to what are the emotions that want to be expressed, what is really on my heart, what is my heart calling me to create and to do. In particular, wild rose or any kind of wild plant is going to really connect you more deeply to that frequency of the wild woman and really the potent medicine that the earth offers us in this very wild way. Obviously anything we grow on earth will hold that earth medicine, but there's just something special about wild mushrooms or anything wild plants that you actually forage and find in the wild. Like they just have to me, a very creative frequency innately because they are of the wild. So personally, I like to have her as either like in a glycerin form or a tincture and take her internally. You could also have rose water that you spray. You could incorporate her into a tea. And I like to just almost like begin my practice, and a lot of times when I take these videos, I'll have some rose tincture to really help me just feel more open and expressive and like more in that heart energy, which I feel is some of our most magnetic and authentic energy to be in is our heart, and that's why it is so creative. Next one might be a little controversial, but if you know me, you know I live in Canada, so it's totally legal, and that is cannabis. And I need to caveat this and say that cannabis can be very powerful for your creative practice, but only if you use it very intentionally. And I think I've privated the video I made before about connecting to cannabis, but maybe I can make an updated one just about how to actually consciously connect to cannabis, because unfortunately, like I feel like any drug or plant medicine or alcohol that is used in mainstream society in a certain way, it has kind of an energetic field that's around it of, you know, how millions of people are using it. And oftentimes for cannabis, people use it, you know, to escape, to forget, to distract, like, and it has that field that's around it. But if you connect in a very clear sense and you're not using it to escape your reality, instead you're using it to support your creativity, and you make the intention clear and you bless your joint before you smoke it, then it can be such a beautiful ally for opening us up, like opening up the crown. Feel is like the center that it really connects us to creative ideas, to new possibilities, to different perspectives. Like if you're moving even like through a block and you're feeling stuck, like you can connect to cannabis and really ask her to help you see like a bigger perspective, or help you to move through whatever is blocking you. And I do this all the time, especially actually when I'm creating thumbnails and titles, because I find that's the part of the process I tend to struggle with, and I overthink, and like it really helps you to just have fun and just receive ideas. Like I have received so many ideas, and sometimes like after you're not smoking the next day, you might look at the ideas and be like, well, this actually isn't aligned, or like realistically I don't actually want to pursue that. But it is such an amazing way to almost like a fisherman's net, just like open yourself up to all the possibilities and like gather them in. And then after, maybe with rosemary, you can like in a more clear and grounded way, you can feel into like, what do I actually want to go after? And then next, I feel that every single artist, creative, storyteller, visionary needs to have a nervine bestie by their side. If you don't know what that means, a nervine is essentially a plant that one of its most potent medicinal benefits is for the nervous system. So it's going to help you usually like feel calm, feel regulated, feel balanced, and kind of like like it's like a breath, like an exhale where you're just like, oh, I can relax and I can let go and I can just be. And so personally, my favorite at the moment is milky oats. So this is from the oat plant, and I love to take it in tincture form. It's so delicious. And also like sprinkle it into different teas I'm having, and just like use it all the time and integrate it into my everyday life. But there's so many nervines you can just look up. It depends, you know, maybe you also need help with sleep. I know a lot of us creatives, like we really struggle to get a good night's sleep, and that can actually really impact our level of creativity and our creative energy the next day. And so, you know, leaning on chamomile or lavender in the evening to really help you wind down and help you get rest can be so beneficial to your creativity. The other piece about nervines is that they really help us to feel a sense of safety. And I feel like as creatives, as artists, especially online and anywhere, like going to markets, having your art in galleries or in public spaces, in shops. A big barrier to that is this feeling that we want to hide, or we don't want to be seen, or we feel a sense of shame or fear. So I think that creating a sense of safety in whatever way is extremely important for artists, and plants such as nervines can really help us with that. Next one is for my fellow witchy wild women who love to, say, drum or journey, channel, work with their dreams. And these are all ways that we can connect to creative ideas. Literally, like, entire bodies of creative work can come through channeling, or the inspiration or the guidance can come through our dreams. And so I think it can be really potent to have plant allies that support us in the dream realm or support us when we're journeying. And that would, of course, be mugwort, like the witch's herb. And you can see her hanging, I always have her hanging here. So you could simply just hang her in your bedroom, hang her in your home. But also the tea is very potent to take like before bed to assist with dreams. If you have an intention of like, I want, guidance about this creative project, or I want guidance on the next steps in my creative journey, you could connect to her in that way. I also really love personally to burn coastal mugwort, which is the mugwort Artemisia suxkodorfi that grows here on the West Coast. And just like burn her and then drum and just like go on a journey. And of course you can also connect to her tincture to support you in connecting to your womb, because if you haven't seen my video about creative women being dangerous women, we know that like the womb is such a powerful creative portal, and the more we connect in with our womb and really hear her whispers and hear her intuitive messages, the more connected we are to our creativity and to the next steps on our path. Okay, and last ones for those who watched to the very end, yay! That would be ancestor medicine. And you can watch my video about lineage keepers and our artist ancestors to kind of dive more into that. A beautiful one is cedar, which also just really provides a sense of clarity, of groundedness. If I'm wanting to do more of that practical side of my creative business, is I'll lean on the cedar tincture, or I like to burn cedar if I'm wanting to connect in with the ancestors. If I'm wanting also to cleanse my space before I start my creative work, cedar can be really supportive. But I want to invite you to uncover like what are the ancestral medicines of my lineage, like you watching, or like what is calling to me, like connecting to the tree of life in whatever, ancestry you're a part of. Or we can also connect to other ancestor medicine, like Ella Campaign felt like she really wanted to be mentioned because she does assist us in feeling this sense of belonging and feeling this sense of deep rootedness and connection into our lineage. And I feel like as Black sheep, as outcasts, we really need that medicine. And I guess the final message I want to leave you with is that you don't actually need anything to connect to your creativity. I feel like whoever stays till the end always gets like the most juicy message because it's when I like kind of tap in and really kind of channel through. And this is what the guides want to share with you, what Goddess Bridget, what the plants want to say. And it's that you don't actually need anything. That we can create ceremony, we can create support for ourselves through connecting to these plants, to candles, to whatever it might be, to music, to incense. But at the end of the day, our creativity is an innate part of us, and that it's beautiful that we live on this miraculous planet Earth where we have all these friends, like this support system, this network of plants that want to help us. And especially they want to help us when we're on these missions and we're doing creative work that is meant to help the earth. Like they really want to help those people, anyone watching. And so just keep in mind that we want to continue to deepen in relationship with these plants in a way that isn't dependency, like this frequency of like addiction, of extraction, of not being in reciprocal relation with, and instead we want to connect to them in a way that is aligned, that is truly intentional, reciprocal, loving, supportive, and that can really just enhance our experience. And so it's not about like replacing your connection with your creativity with these plants, but instead it's about supporting. Yeah, thanks for joining me in today's video. I can't believe we only have one left. I'm so excited. Like, what? Yeah, it's been an incredible journey. I would love to hear in the comments, what are your favorite plants to connect to for your creative practice, for your creativity, for focus, for flow? And are any of the ones I mentioned some of your allies as well? And until tomorrow, have a beautiful day filled with unexpected but deeply supportive allies in whatever form they come. Human, plant, animal, calling in many allies for you on your creative journey.